If you've got a heart, then this video is for you. Welcome once again to Tulgey TV, where the madness never stops, no matter how much you plead. Today's video is all about Gumby.
I'm Gumby, damn it!
Made famous in the 1950s in the animated cartoons, the stop-motion cartoons, created by filmmaker Art Clokey. Gumby is one of those characters that just carries on and on, so I thought it would be fun to take a look at him through some of the merchandise that's been issued over the years. Looking for a Disney connection? Well, Art Clokey's first film in 1953 was a 3-minute spoof of Fantasia called Gumbasia, which used clay figures coming to life and set to music, just like Fantasia, sort of. The word surreal comes to mind. But of course, to have an ongoing series, you need a central character. So Art Clokey came up with Gumby. That term came from the muddy clay found at Art Clokey's grandparents' farm, which they called gumbo. And I think this was very interesting that Art Clokey chose the color green for Gumby because to him, it was not only racially neutral, but it was a sign of life. A lot of thought went into this. Art Clokey produced a Gumby pilot, and it was seen by NBC, who commissioned a second film that premiered on what show? Well, of course, Howdy Doody, where this short called Gumby on the Moon was a huge hit, leading to NBC to commission an entire series, The Gumby Show, one of the earliest animated shows commissioned for network broadcast. And you have to think that since NBC was the color network, and they were ever on the outlook for color programming, that the very colorful adventures of Gumby was exactly what they were looking for. Gumby became a staple of the network for many, many years and gained huge fans with its surreal stories. Gumby being a little clay figure that could skate, pop into books, change shapes, and have all kinds of adventures in all kinds of settings. In terms of imagination, the sky was the limit. Where there are network animated characters, there's merchandise, and Gumby was seen on all kinds of merchandise, as was Gumby's pal Pokey, the pony. Gumby himself was, of course, the main attraction in terms of merchandise. These bendable, adjustable, positionable characters. More so than even most characters, it was really like Gumby had jumped off the screen and here he was. And you could twist him and bend him into any sort of position. This came out with the new episodes produced in 1988. And on the back you can see some of the other characters, including the Blockheads. And as it says, as seen on Nickelodeon. So Gumby's been seen on every sort of thing, including the nostalgia channel MeTV, which recently showed Gumby as part of its cartoon lineup. Now, in the heyday of the Gumby merchandise in the 1960s, it wasn't only the Gumby figure you could get. You could also get adventure costumes to dress him up in. Here's a perfect example right here. The knight adventure costume, where Gumby becomes a knight. And of course, Pokey could be his horse. And it says right on the card, a helmet, shield, a standard, a sword, a belt. So you could create your own Gumby cartoon scenes. Best of all, it's non-toxic. Like the Gumby figures in the 1960s, this was produced by Lakeside Toys. Lakeside was a toy company in Minneapolis, Minnesota, so naturally it was called Lakeside because of all the lakes. Fans of the Mary Tyler Moore Show know that Minnesota was the land of 10,000 lakes. Astronauts, of course, were popular in the 1960s, so we have an astronaut adventure costume with a space helmet, oxygen tank, walkie-talkie, astro ray gun, and space belt. To again create your own Gumby registered trademark cartoon scenes. These are really so well done, and look at all the details. And you can really see the details in the next one, the cowboy adventure costume. This had a 10-gallon hat, 2-gun holster, 2 pistols, a lasso, a guitar, and a badge. I think the guitar is especially cool. Now, this Gumby and Friends playset from the 1990s is a really cool example of modern or more modern merchandise. And it's really fun because it contains the bendable figures of Gumby, Pokey, and some of their other friends, such as Goo, Gumby's mermaid claymate, and Prickle, Gumby and Pokey's miniature dinosaur friend. They were introduced in the mid-1960s when the budgets were really growing for the Gumby show, and the animation and the storytelling and the characters became even more sophisticated.
He was once a little green slab of clay. Gumby, but you should see what Gumby can do today. Gumby, he can walk into any book with his pony pal Pokey too. If you've got a heart, then Gumby's a part of you.
Before Prickle and Goo, the supporting characters mainly consisted of Gumby's mother and father, and the blockheads. So it was fun to see his supporting cast kind of beefed up. And then we also have here in pink, Minga, who is Gumby's little sister, introduced in the 1988 series of new animated Gumby shorts. This display is really wonderful, and there's a couple interesting things on it as well. Because here on the back, Art Clokey himself has a special message with his signature that says, since Gumby was created for children, a portion of all proceeds are donated to children's hospitals around the world. Well, how cool is that? So there we have a brief look at Gumby and some of the really cool merch that's been produced over the years. There's lots more, so we'll take another look at Gumby another time. But until then, please be sure and be with us next time when we'll have a meeting of the Sterling Cooper Draper Price Book Club. Don Draper will be here to discuss the books Exodus, The Sound and the Fury, The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, The Group, and Meditations in an Emergency. And we'll have a visit from special guest lecturer Dick Whitman, too. See you then.